This week's episode of We're From the Internet is brought to you by the good people of Amazon. Did you know you can do all your Amazon shopping, even on Prime Day, which is like tomorrow, at we'refromtheinternet.com/Amazon?
What the hell is Prime Day?
Do you not know what Prime Day is?
No, is it to do with like the number one and stuff like that?
No, Prime Day is... they've got TV adverts about it and everything.
I'm not one to watch much television.
They're doing a sale that is supposed to be bigger than their Black Friday sale.
Bigger than Jesus?
They weren't specific about that, but you can judge for yourself whether their Black Friday sale is bigger than Jesus, and depending on where he falls on that spectrum, it's bigger than that sale. It's to celebrate 20 years of the good people of Amazon. The good people of weirfromtheinternet.com/Amazon. So they're going to do low prices. And if you get your delightful items at these low prices from weirfromtheinternet.com/Amazon, we get a little slice of that action. Keeps us in molasses and whatever else we buy.
They've been around longer than 20 years.
It might be 25
They were in
years.
the rainforest business before, weren't they?
I'm not so sure. All I know is it's an anniversary. They weren't specific about which one or for how many. I've guessed at 20 years.
Maybe it's when they realised that, wood's a dying industry and they just got into...
They sell a lot of wood,
stuff.
though. I bought a desk from Amazon. Mind you, the desk was made of glass. So
See, this is it.
Can you buy wood off of Amazon? Go to weirdfromtheinternet.com/Amazon. See if you can just search for wood and see what you can find. You can buy a lot of paper on there.
Well, that's basically the same thing.
Thinly sliced wood. It's the
wafer thin ham version of paper.
The way bacon is to gammon, wood is to paper is to wood. I think that's wood's slogan, isn't it? Or paper's slogan.
Best thing since sliced wood.
Yeah. If we ran a paper company, that would be our slogan. Why isn't that a slogan of every paper company in the country? If you were Xerox and you were trying to get photocopiers to be big again, best thing since sliced wood.
Their slogan should be sitting at the end of the alphabet.
But they're not. There's letters after X.
Yeah, but idiot. No one... Yeah, well, why be X? That's just madness. You want to be one Xerox so that you're...
His name was Xavier Xerox. What else was he supposed to call his company?
Alexander, I don't know. Xavier's basically Alexander, isn't it?
No. And Alexander would put him closer to the start of the alphabet. Exactly,
that's what I'm saying. It's pointless naming a company after
so you want
X,
to call
Y,
it
Z.
Aerox.
I'd want to be...
Aerox paper, the best thing since sliced wood.
I'd want to be like exclamation mark, 1, 2, 3.
So this episode is brought to you by Aerox paper, which you can buy at weirfromtheinternet.com/Amazon. Hello and welcome to We're From the Internet. I'm Kev.
And I'm Steve.
We've never done an intro like that on this show before, have we?
Have we not?
No, because that fella, that voiceover artist who worked for us for a little while, he did it that one who sounded a bit like me. We went onto Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and looked for people who can do voices that sound a bit like Kev's, and we got them to record all those little 10-second bits, and there was one who sounded a bit like you, and we did the I'm Kev and I'm Steve bit at the start. Remember that? For the first 100 episodes.
Those
we did it every day.
Awful. Why did we do that?
We only did them for 100 episodes.
Well, let's cut that out.
We just have. Did you not listen to the first few minutes of the show? The advert?
I thought we were just slating Xerox.
We're back to a 3-minute long advert, everybody, because we're celebrating getting to episode 101 by going back to an hour-long weekly show. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it feels good. We did an hour-long questionnaire on the internet, and 100% of responses in that hour said go back to an hour, and we thought,
it wasn't
let's
quite
check
100% of the 6 people who responded. One did say, I like the daily shows.
And one also told us to start a llama farm, but I think that was your good lady.
Yeah, I went in there and tried to do the questionnaire with her, and she just said, I don't care, I don't listen, it's rubbish. Stop it. Stop talking to me about this podcast I don't like.
Yeah.
Because she's not on it. She only listens to herself. She loves the sound of her own voice, that girl.
Who doesn't?
But we're back to doing a weekly show. I think we're going to be releasing on Tuesday. It's Tuesday at the moment. So we're going to be releasing on Tuesdays because why the heck not? Give me a reason not to release on Tuesday. We released Mature Gamer on a Friday/Saturday.
I can't think of what the Beatles said about Tuesday's Child, but...
I think they said Tuesday's Child releases a podcast.
Probably runs a lot as well.
Is your hair now long enough for you to twirl it in your fingers? Is that what you're doing?
It's long enough now that when I'm standing at a bus stop, I have to keep pushing it to one side when the wind blows
it stands up on end and people can see a giant red slaphead.
I'm wondering if I'll be able to... What we'll be on like episode 140-ish, and I'll finally be allowed a haircut.
I'm not sure. I think you should go to episode 152. Do the full year from now. The year starts now, everybody. New season, new year. It's We're from the Internet season 2.
It's already too long.
When we get, it only took us 3.5 months to get to episode 100. It's going to take another 2 years to get to episode 200. That's depressing. Should we do an hour a day?
So what is the new
Best
format?
of both
Let's tell the
worlds.
people.
Well, we're going to do you remember a little show called Best Thing From? It took the internet by storm a few years ago.
But it was a little bit different from this, wasn't it?
It was. It was me and some other fella called Steve. It wasn't. That was original Steve, wasn't it? Before you came along, because I think enough time has passed now to reveal that Steve from Best Thing From died, unfortunately, in a tragic boating accident. And that's the real reason.
One as well.
That's the real reason Best Thing From stopped. He went out to sea on his dinghy.
Did they ever find who carved that dog in the boat?
No, they never found his body even. But,
just like a collar and some weird other trademark items.
I was pretty cut up for several minutes before I basically put it out to audition for a new extra from EastEnders, which is where you came from.
Yeah.
You had to change your name. Well, interestingly, you didn't have to change your name. Original Steve was actually called Richard, and we called him Steve. He was playing a role. Remarkably, you're actually called Steve.
I am Steve Step-Henson.
So it was a stroke of good fortune, really. We did limit the auditions just to people called Steve. It was you and former Olympic javelist Steve Backley, but he hasn't got the comic timing that we need for
about
this show.
Throwing javelins, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So we thought now you've cut your teeth in podcasting. You've done your first 100 episodes. We fast-tracked them so that you could get to the point where you were capable of doing an hour-long show. So here we are back doing that again. It will be slightly different from old Best Thing From because, I don't know, how's it going to be different? We did talk about it and I can't remember.
Here's how I think it's going to play out from now on.
Who asked you? You're new!
Well, I wanted to be the bleed host for this season and you wouldn't let me introduce it. Although I was going to accidentally say I'm Kev and then wait for you to say I'm Steve.
That's why you don't get to.
Yeah.
And you know full well I edit the show. If you had tried to do that, I'd have just re-recorded my own version after you'd left.
But, right, each week we are going to talk about a topic that interests us, and then somewhere towards the middle end, you're going to ask a question each week, listener.
Me? I'll ask a question. Why have you started calling me listener?
And we're going to answer their question in We're From the Internet style. We're also going to do the Patreon and mailing list episodes.
Of course.
Usual.
Well, we need to talk about them later in the show. I've got it penciled in down here because are we going to do them the way we
Well, what do they want, I suppose?
Yeah. If you are a mailing list subscriber or a Patreon subscriber, we want to know what you want for your money or your email address, depending on which one you are. We're happy to carry on doing a 10-minute episode exclusively for you, like each week. So one for the mailing list, one for Patreon folk. But if you'd rather have something a little bit different, let us know.
Kev has been thinking about putting a webcam in his shower when he's in there.
There's already a webcam in my shower.
Well, he's thinking about turning it on.
It's already so. Do you not have video records of every shower you've ever taken?
Well, I have like audio records of it. I don't feel the need to, because I'm fully clothed.
Different parts of your body.
Yeah, I'm fully clothed anyway, so I only need to hear what I'm thinking out loud.
Interesting. I've just dropped my pen all over the keyboard. That could have, if that pen had been open, that would have been a horrific red pen accident. Do you like the fact I'm using a red pen, by the way?
I don't, because it's meant to be bad luck.
What do you mean it's bad luck? I use a red pen all day, every day.
Well, anyway, what are you up to this week?
Who says red pens are bad luck?
I don't know. I heard it once.
From who?
My mum tells me everything's bad luck. Passing someone on the stairs is bad luck. Red pens are bad luck. Walking under a ladder, which is real, I suppose.
What if you're walking under a ladder on the stairs holding a red pen? Is it using red pens or holding red pens?
I'm not sure.
Interesting.
There's loads of things you told me about luck that probably aren't.
Very good. What have I been up to this week? Did you ask me? It was nice of you to ask. I don't normally get asked. People don't usually care what I've been up to. Nothing really.
I didn't really care. I wanted to talk about my week.
I thought that might be where this was going. We'll come back to me if there's time at the end, shall we?
Well, you said you did nothing. What did you do?
A bit of this, bit of that, bit of ducking and diving. You bought me for my birthday. You tried to kill me. You actually tried to have me assassinated as a birthday gift to me. He bought me a cigar, a cigar full of fruity juice cigar, wasn't it? What flavour was it?
Blueberry.
Watermelon, blueberry. A blueberry flavoured pretend nicotine. It had nicotine in, didn't it?
Yeah.
Cigar. And it was a nice. It looked like a cigar. It was a nice long shape. It even had its big marketing point was the chewable nib, so you could have the. I think it was for simulated chomping. It said on the it said on the box. So I thought, well, you know what? I'll have a chomp on that. So I was sat there last night having a little chomp on my cigar, and then suddenly my mouth was full of tobacco juice, and the whole of the contents of my mouth was burning. I spat it all out, swilled my mouth out with water, swilled my mouth out with mouthwash, looked up, can a mouthful of tobacco juice kill you? Yes, it can. A mouthful of tobacco juice can kill you. One of the big health fears with e-cigarettes is the fact that if you were to accidentally break it open and drink the juice, it would kill you. So, yeah, I got a big mouthful of that.
Why
tried
did
to
you
kill
chomp
me.
on the end of
Because
it?
it said it had a chomping
So it
simulation.
said, like, soft.
I just had a little nosh on it. It was basically like a dog eating a carrot. Have you ever given a dog a carrot?
If you bit a normal cigar, it would rip. Why were you doing that?
It wouldn't fill your mouth with poison. Because I wanted to have a chomp on it. I was sat there, I was typing away, and I had it in my mouth. I was just basically chewing on the end of it. It was my new chew toy. And then it just started squirting at me. And initially I thought, that's unusual. Taste of blueberry. Ooh, muffins. And then it started to burn, and that was when I started to get a little bit worried. It was very similar to the time I went to the opticians, and the optician tried to burn my eyes out with bleach. But it was in my mouth. It was back in the days when I used to wear contact lenses, and I took my contact lenses out. You go in there with your contact lenses in for your contact lens checkup. They test your eyes with them, and then you take them out so they can check up your normal human eyes before you put your robotic ones back in. And I took them out, put them in his little case that he had with his cleaning fluid in. And then when he was done, I put my contact lens back in. Thought, that's a bit sore. I'll put the other one in just to be safe. That's also a bit sore. And then my eyes started to bleed. And it turned out that instead of using the normal contact lens fluid that you have when you're just putting them in overnight, he'd given me some of the long-term storage fluid that you put them in when, for whatever weird reason, you've decided, I don't really want to wear my contact lenses for the next 6 months. I'm going to put them in long-term storage. And then when you take them out, you're supposed to wash them and clean them with water and clean them with the proper fluid to get all the bleach off. But I just basically stuck bleach in my eye, and my eyes were basically red for a couple of days.
You're mental. You kind of ruin everything, don't you?
Well, it just seems that people are insistent on getting poisons into my body.
Every
hole in my face, people are trying to put poison in.
I'm disappointed you broke my birthday present to you. You were very happy with that when I left.
I was. It was really nice. I liked blueberry flavoured pretend smoke. It was very pleasant. But I'm now terrified of all e-cigarette products because having now done some research on them and seen that, if you drink the fluid, it's more deadly than smoking.
Your health warning of the week: don't bite the end off of an e-cigarette and pour the liquid down your throat.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this podcast is going to be all about. Health warnings from Kev. Kev's health warning of the week: don't drink tobacco juice. It's bad for you.
I went and did a boot sale at the weekend. Another one. I always do boot sales, as you're aware of. Got there, paid my $5.
So, just to clarify, was this a car boot sale?
Car boot sale.
Okay, thank you.
And it rained for the entire duration.
That's why it rained on Sunday, was it?
It was pouring down. And we basically paid our $5 and then it started spitting immediately and the bloke just disappeared.
What bloke?
The bloke who charges you a $5 to be there.
Were you the only people there?
No, there was a few of us. So whilst staring at him running off into the distance and frantically pulling sheets over all of our stuff, I realised that I was the only one outside helping cover our stuff up. My wife and daughter had just disappeared into the car. And by the time I'd finished, I was so wet, I thought, I can't really get in the car, I'm going to destroy it. So I just stood in the pouring rain with an umbrella over me, but still inexplicably drenched. My coat was heavy, my jeans were heavy. I was just so heavy with water. All of our stuff got trashed, basically. And then at the end of it all, it finally got really, really hot and sunny, but all of our books were wet, all of our clothes were wet. We had to just bin them all off. So all we did in the end, basically, we spent a $5 on being there. We pretty much made our $5 back off this Lithuanian woman who basically just bought all of our girls.
She bought your girls?
No, 4-year-old girls' clothes. She just came around with her daughter and bought everything we had.
For a $5?
pretty much. But well, we didn't have many. And then, we basically made our fiver back after about 4 hours. I was drenched through, and then we just went home and binned everything because it was all soaking wet. And I felt like we basically cost ourselves, not much, probably like a tenner's worth of tap thrown in the bin, made our money back, so we broke even on being there, and I was just drenched and miserable then.
Think of all the more productive things you could have spent 4 hours doing.
I kept saying to my wife that 4 hours of my time is worth quite a bit of money nowadays. You know, I said to her I could have...
I bet she loved that. In my experience, women love a sentence like that.
Well, I did say to her I could have had one beer at the brewery tap next week and I'd have earned 5 times the amount of money we earned. People pay 5 times that to drink with me, I said. But, no, I said to her it was nice spending the day with her and my daughter. My daughter seriously thought she had the power to stop rain. It started raining and she's saying, rain, rain, go away. And every time she said a verse of it, the rain went away slightly more until it completely stopped and started getting hotter.
Perhaps she has got the power to do that.
For a moment, we were starting to wonder because she literally had made it go down and down and down till it went. And then it started raining again when she stopped singing. And she couldn't get it to go after that. It just kept going. And then by that point...
Heart wasn't in it anymore.
No, I think she just gave up.
She knows she can do it now. She's not just to do it to demand.
Then she was just dancing around getting drenched, which is quite funny. But
so
yeah,
I assume by this stage, because you go to 3 or 4 car boot sales a week,
a year.
I assume by this stage you're one of those people who now turns up in a dirty tracksuit and a string vest, and the first thing you do when you get there is see what everyone else is getting out of their car. Ooh. They're selling this for £1. I could get £1.50 for that. I'm having it.
We're like the pigeons who just we're setting up and there's people swarming us going, how much for this, how much for that?
Yeah, you should be that swarmer. Yeah. You go to so many car boot sales that you should be the man swarming now and selling. You should be flipping at car boot sales because you can't have enough crap left to sell by this point, surely.
Well, we're down to the books that are binned, some old clothes. Some woman, even though she saw that we had a hairdryer and some hair straighteners.
Did she say, what on earth did you need with these?
They've been in the rain for 3 hours and she bought them off me for £1. And I was like, they're going to burn your house down.
Were these the same hair straighteners your good lady bought at Gadget Show for about £100 2 years ago?
They're broken. They're in the bin. I went back there with the warranty ticket in the hope that people would be there, but they'd changed their company name and the product name. So they were just
because they sold exploding hair straighteners.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So have you got no more car boot sale tap now? You're never going to tell me again that you've been to a car boot sale.
When I went upstairs yesterday afternoon, my wife had... I didn't even notice she'd been out of the room, but she'd been up in the loft, filling all the stuff up in the loft. Didn't ask me for any help, didn't ask me to do anything. I just came from my kip on the sofa, and she'd been doing that. So this week's topic is Comic-Con.
Never heard of it.
I believe it's on at the moment in the US of A.
This is the MCM Comic-Con that we go to sometimes, is it?
It's the upmarket version of that.
How can you get more upmarket than MCM? You can buy... What can you buy there? You can get those Japanese sticks that have chocolate on the end, which no one's really sure. Is it biscuit? Is it wood? What is it?
I'm pretty sure it's upmarket enough that the cast of Red Dwarf would find it difficult to gain entry as paying guests.
Really? What about Shane Ritchie and Kat off of EastEnders?
I imagine they probably wouldn't even be allowed in the country while it's on.
Really? I don't know that it's something I want to be a part of. Because you can buy those little things that are like biscuits with varnish on and pictures of cartoon characters and a little lump of a little bit like chocolate inside. They're nice. Remember them from off of the 90s? You can still get them at MCM Comic-Con. Bet you can't get them in America.
I don't think they'd let us wander around handing out business cards to our books.
I'd like to see them stop us.
Yeah, well, this is the one where they basically announce all the really cool, geeky stuff that we should be really into.
So we've got a big long list of things we didn't know was coming. New announcements, new exciting stuff that we've never heard of before.
No, you know what? Looking through it online and look like over the past day or so, there's not been anything on there where I was kind of like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. Is there anything you've seen that was news to you, or has it all just been confirmation that stuff you know is happening?
The only news, and it might just be that I haven't been paying attention, but I didn't realise the Joker was going to be in the Suicide Squad movie.
Oh yeah, no, I knew that, and all the articles say he stole the show, but everything I've felt and seen is in the video he looked awful, in the pictures he looks awful. I don't
really get why he's in that movie, because on Arrow, He's not in the Suicide Squad. And in the Suicide Squad comics I've read, he's not in the Suicide Squad. Now, I realise the Suicide Squad, in theory, could be any DC baddies who just happen to be locked up in Arkham at the time and get their tag put on them and go out and do their missions and whatnot. But you wouldn't let the Joker go out, because I don't know if the good people of Arkham are aware, but the Joker's a rascal. And he'll find a way to cause mischief while he's out and about.
I thought the point was that, like, it was an opportunity to see Harley Quinn away from the Joker, just being a naughty girl.
Yeah, well, that's generally it's Harley Quinn and Deadshot and a few of your other Batman baddies, and it's the B-level baddies. You don't get the likes of the Penguin and Two-Face and Joker involved generally, because they're busy pestering Batman. These are the ones who don't get centre stage normally, so you get all the little next level down, but all together and all up to rascally antics, it becomes good. If you throw in the Joker in there, this is basically the Joker movie, and he's got some sidekicks with him. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about with it.
I'm pretty much convinced this is not going to be very good.
Because how could you have the Joker without Batman? Because surely, if the Joker is in it, being the Joker and doing the sort of stuff Joker does, there's only one person who can come and stop him. Batman's got to come and get involved. And if Batman's in it as well, which he's not, obviously.
Well, I thought I saw him in the advert.
Is he? Well, then it's a Batman movie. It's a Batman.
Might be a cameo.
If the only way it's a cameo is if the first time the Joker steps out of line, Batman grabs him by the scruff of the neck, and slings him back in prison and lets everyone else go about their business. But I feel like it's going to be 2 hours of the Joker just doing what the Joker does. But for whatever reason, Batman just leaves him to get on with it. I'm not interested enough. He's not killing as many people as he normally does.
Well, I thought the idea was they're sort of killing the right people.
Well, yeah, they're supposed to be. The idea is they're being released to go and do specific missions to try and shorten their sentence and blah, 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 blah. But you wouldn't let the Joker out no matter what. No matter how good he is in the Suicide Squad, no matter how much good he does to the world, he's only doing it to get out of prison so he can go and kill Batman.
Yeah, this is it. This is why I definitely agree. And I just don't think he looks right either, with his practical bald head, skinhead, weird teeth that are made of metal. Just doesn't look right to me. I'm sure there's probably some comic book Joker they're basing him on or something like that. He just doesn't look right to me.
I don't remember a bald Joker with metal teeth.
He might not be bald. He just looked bald in the video I saw earlier. But his teeth look metal and ridiculously sharp. It just looks weird. And the voice is just not right. He's not a lunatic with sort of a... You almost feel like he's
on meds.
You almost feel like he's got laughing gas all the time. It just makes him laugh and talk in that sort of off-pitch way.
Well, that's what the Joker is. That's
exactly.
What he does.
Well, I mean, I've obviously just been playing Arkham Knight at the moment, and the Joker in that is perfect. It's just what the Joker's always meant to be like, isn't it? And in the Dark Knight film, where Heath Ledger played him, it was completely different, but he did a good job.
Is it Heath Ledger reprising his role in Suicide Squad? I assume
that's really tasteless. But
Jack Nicholson, is it him?
I can't remember the guy's name, but he just doesn't play the part for me.
Is it Mark Hamill off of the comic?
It's
off
not.
Of the cartoons?
It's none of them. It's some new fella.
What is his first acting role? Is it the real Joker finally? Not someone pretending to be.
I can't remember his name. I want to say like Leroy or something, but it's probably not.
Leroy as the Joker.
But
so good he doesn't need a surname.
The way it's shot, right? This is the really weird thing for me as well, right? Right, we'll get onto some other bits that have been on there, for example, Star Wars. Now, I saw a wide open shot of that in one of the promos, and I was like, straight away, this has got money behind it, this looks good. Before I'd even seen a scene, it was just like an open desert type thing. The camera looked like someone who knew how to use a camera was using it.
Remarkable for a movie.
It wasn't trying to be all shiny. It was just, this is it. We're going to do good stuff here. Whereas when the Suicide Squad popped up, it was kind of glossy and shiny and like, we've spent a lot of money. Look how much money we've spent. This has got to be good because we spent money. And it didn't actually look like it had much about it in the way it was shot. And that probably sounds really bizarre. I can't think of a better way to describe it than that. Because I mean, like the Batman films are shot in this kind of way that makes it clear their quality. Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, all of those are shot in a certain way that just makes it look like they've spent some money on it. It might just be the wide camera, perhaps.
But anytime someone blocks off the top inch of the TV screen, you're sold. Oh, this must be good.
Much it.
They don't need the whole TV screen to make it look good.
That's pretty much it. Whereas this one just looked too... the lighting was too high for my tastes, which automatically suggested to me that it was probably a load of pap.
I'd forgotten how much of a movie connoisseur you are. Oh, the lighting.
I have an AS in media, a B grade, which means I didn't complete the full A level because I left.
Because you kept going on about the lighting and you refused to comment on it properly.
I know what I mean, but the quality just didn't look right in the bits I've seen of it, and
they're
the casting
trying to make it look
right.
like a comic book. You need it to be bright and colourful.
I don't think it does.
Like
I think that's the problem as well. It doesn't look like a comic book.
And when your lead characters are dressed as clowns and they're all about all the different colours they've got on, then you need to.
But it needs to be. If it's the Suicide Squad, it needs to be dark and gritty.
I don't know if they keep going down the dark, gritty route with DC. The reason the Marvel films have been so massively successful is because they're not dark and gritty.
But they're not shot like the Suicide Squad is. They're shot more like the programs and films I mentioned. They've got that kind of, I don't know, they've got the right lighting, the right colour, the right shots, and it's playing it cool. It's got some gags in there, but it's not a comedy, and it's not about making you laugh all the time or trying to show off. It's just cool, whereas this just looks like it's trying. I don't know. I can't really argue a point. The Marvel films are just cool. They don't seem like they're trying to be cool. They just are cool. They just know what you want and they're doing it. Whereas this seems like it's trying, and it looks like the casting's wrong for me. It looks like the lighting's wrong. I don't know. It just looks like there's too many mishits on this.
At least Leroy's in it.
Yeah. So fingers crossed it'll be good, but I'm not expecting much. I think that's good in a way. My expectations are very low on this.
What about the trailer for Ben Affleck versus Superman? Because obviously Batman's not in the trailer. Barely. You've got his eyes at one point. You see Batman's eyes.
Loads.
Superman is. Batman isn't. It's Ben Affleck versus Superman.
Yeah. No, you're right.
They're just really making the point. By the way, Ben Affleck's in this movie. He's playing Bruce Wayne.
He looks a few shots of Batman.
He looks really old. I need to find out where this lives in the whole DC continuity thing, because Ben Affleck, I guess, is about 10 years older than Christian Bale, maybe. He looks 10 years older than Christian Bale.
Yeah.
So is this Batman has retired?
Is it Dawn of Justice, as they called it?
Yeah.
So are they planning on having them fight it out and then doing Justice League afterwards?
I assume the ending to this movie, spoiler alert, I assume at the end of this movie they form the Justice League, because you've got Batman, well, you've got Bruce Wayne and Superman in the trailer. You've got Wonder Woman in the trailer. I feel like you sort of saw for a split second Aquaman knocking around, but I might have just imagined that. Saw someone who looked like he could be Aquaman.
He's got gills.
Yeah. He was sort of like in a shiny, scaly, greenish suit. So is that Aquaman? Is he in there as well? I know Aquaman's been cast because Khal Drogo is Aquaman, isn't he?
Oh, right.
I think that's in an Aquaman movie, but he might.
Yeah,
I might be getting
it makes sense, wouldn't it?
He might be in this movie as well, but they didn't give us enough Batman. I need my Batman to get me excited about
another trailer from the opposite point of view, weren't they? But I don't know. I felt like, again, it looked like they followed on the Superman from the last Superman film, and they have I've forgotten her name, who played Lois Lane in the last film. She's in this. Was Jim White played by the same fella?
Yeah, I think this is the sequel to that Superman movie.
But the Lex Luthor looks different than I remember.
No, he's not. It's the fella out of what's it called? The Social Network. Him.
Okay, because I was saying to my friends, it didn't feel like they'd cast some of the people right.
No,
again.
it's the same too young Lex Luthor.
Yeah, but I really liked the last film. I actually thought for once they'd done a good job with Superman.
Yeah, it was a good Superman movie, and this one, I think the general gist we got from the trailer is that Superman is now the world's big superhero, but balls is up somehow, lets some people die. We then sort of cut to Ben Affleck hugging a child, which I don't know if that was in...
Didn't a building fall down and he happened to drag a kid out of it, and he's like, oh, you must pay.
And then he sort of drifts back to Gotham, and it's like he's fetching the Batman suit out for the first time in however many years. So at the end of The Dark Knight Rises, he basically gives up being Batman, doesn't he? That's spoiler alert again, he's not Batman anymore. So is this a number of years have passed, and he's now
turned into Ben Affleck?
Yeah, as all men do when they age, they start to look a bit like Ben Affleck. And he's thinking, oh, I've got to get the old suit out one more time. Except it's not an old suit. It's a space suit with glowy eyes that looks a little bit like Batman.
Well, it's got to be reinforced to withhold Superman.
Yeah, he gets his lamp out on the roof and for some reason decides to signal himself.
Do you think it's to let the world know he's back instead of just to like...
Hi, Ben Affleck here, calling Batman. Ah, crap, that's me.
Well, I guess that Commissioner Gordon and Alfred are probably dead by now because of Batman's soul.
Well, they weren't in the trailer, were they?
No.
So, yeah, Ben Affleck summons himself. And then...
Maybe that's so that everyone
and then
goes...
it cuts to Batman.
Maybe it's like, oh, Bruce Wayne's operating the light now, so all those times we thought he was Batman weren't right at all. he controls the light. It can't be him.
But yeah, I think that's the general gist. Batman is now coming out of retirement because he's got to take Superman down. And then, for some reason, Wonder Woman and Aquaman get involved. I don't know which side they're going to be on. I guess they have to help Batman, don't they? Because otherwise Superman will just kick his ass.
That means that Superman must actually turn bad then, surely?
I don't think he has to be bad for Batman to think he's bad. I would...
Well, no, but once... Because what I mean is, like, if Batman goes in there like, you're a monster, I'm going to kill you, and then Superman's like, whoa, no, you've misunderstood, I'm actually really good, this film's over. So there's got to be more of a reason.
Well, no, I think from whichever point of view you're looking at it from, you see the other guy as a baddie. So if you're Superman, yeah, there was an accident, some people died, but I'm still saving loads of people. And now there's this jerk in a shiny suit who's trying to kill me just because a few people died. I need to get rid of him. And then if you're Batman, it's this guy's killing loads of people, I need to take him down. And they both see each other as the baddie, and they have to save the world.
But surely Superman, with his super hearing for one thing, and the fact he works for a newspaper, will have heard of Batman.
They cover that in the trailer. They say, no one cares what Clark Kent thinks.
Yeah, but he still knows that this man's been doing it. Like, Batman's not exactly been a secret. Gotham City has almost like been destroyed 3 times at least in the films.
But again, if you're looking at it from Superman's point of view, firstly, he wasn't around then. If we're looking at this in the movie chronology, he turned up on Earth after the last Batman movie. So Batman's finished by the time Superman arrives. So all Superman knows is the stories of this superhero who was around before him. And since he stopped, all the baddies are in prison and Gotham's all right now. So was Batman causing all the problems all along? Is it really all Batman's fault? If Batman just gives up, do the baddies give up as well? They're all off being the Suicide Squad now, with Leroy leading them. Leroy the Joker, which I think is his clown name.
If that's how they've done it, that's genius, because that is like, look, the Joker's just saved a load of people. Yeah. He's actually a hero, a state hero with medals and stuff. He's got his own circus and everything.
And then you've got Wonder Woman appears and Aquaman appears, and they've got to get the Flash and Arrow involved. I know annoyingly they've said that the two off the TV, they will have a Flash eventually, but it won't be TV Flash. They're going to recast the Flash for the movies, and they've got no plans to include the Green Arrow in Justice League at all, which is just frustrating because they've got such big followings. Get them both in there.
That does just seem mental. They should just have them in there. They've already built it up. To say they're all part of the same universe now would be spot on, surely.
And then they've got to go and fetch Green Lantern back and say, look, we know your movie was rubbish, but come and help. Get your magic ring on. And then that movie ends with the Justice League forming, which then, because Suicide Squad comes out a few months after after this Batman Superman movie, surely the Justice League have now formed. If the Suicide Squad step even an inch out of line, Batman and Superman turn up together with Wonder Woman and Aquaman there, just faffing about as well, and say, pack it in.
Which makes you wonder why they don't just send them in to do it anyway. That's another thing I don't really get about the Suicide Squad. Batman's down the road, Superman's down the road.
They get to do the morally iffy stuff that Batman's not going to do, because that's how they use him. Because the Suicide Squad feature in the Arrow TV show quite a lot, and they generally use them for the stuff that Arrow's going to say, well, no, I'm not doing that. That's basically illegal and quite bad. But you've got to go and assassinate someone they've got the potential to be bad, but hasn't necessarily done anything yet. So it's the morally grey areas they send the Suicide Squad in for. So again, if you're Batman or Superman and you're seeing you're seeing a team led by the Joker up to no good,
You kind of go to the top of that and stop it all, don't you? Whoever's running that needs to be stopped.
So it'd be quite interesting how they work that through. And I haven't looked far enough ahead to see what the next movie in this Justice League plan is now. Do they then start doing all the movies for the individual characters and then come back to the Justice League in 3 years' time? Because then the problem is with forming the Justice League so early, they're straight away into the problem Marvel have got with the Avengers now, where every movie that has the Avengers characters in that doesn't have them all in, you're constantly, or I anyway, for Iron Man 3, I was constantly thinking, well, why doesn't Thor just turn up and help him?
He was busy, wasn't he? I wondered the same, but I looked into it and Thor was off running errands.
Well, he could just stop for
buy some milk. No, it's all right. Iron Man.
You can't use that excuse for Superman. Now, if you do another standalone Batman movie, then Superman could just come and help. He could
maybe at the end of this film,
come and help.
Maybe at the end of this film, he'll be like, right, yeah, I will form Justice League with you, but I just have to. I've heard something about Krypton, and I'm just going to nip back and see if it's true.
Krypton doesn't exist.
Yeah, but they could say to him, "There's evidence that they might do." Isn't there something like that in Superman where he thinks that Krypton hasn't been destroyed? And or am I thinking of Doctor Who when he thinks Gallifrey exists and goes and checks and it doesn't? That might be what I'm thinking of.
There is a lot of similarities between Doctor Who and Superman.
Oh, there are. You should look into it. There's loads of similarities.
I don't want to ruin Superman for myself.
So I know you don't like Star Wars, but that, I must say, this potentially looks like, to me anyway, on the adverts, that it could be the best one of the 7. Because
the best Star Wars movie of the year.
The best Star Wars movie of the
Aren't they doing
sectology.
A Star Wars movie every year until the end of time now? Haven't they announced Han Solo spin-off? Because
I don't know what they've announced.
What does Star Wars? I think it's a trilogy of movies just starring an old man.
Interesting. I mean, this is it. That's why they've bought it, so they can
milk it for all it's worth and ruin it for everybody.
This looks like it's going to be quality, whereas I think the episode 1 and episode 2 were quite half-assed. Episode 3, I had the potential to be really good until Darth Vader screamed "No" at the end and ruined it. If that wasn't there, I reckon I'd have really liked episode 3. The original 3 are passable. I'm okay with them, but they're nothing special. This actually looks like it'd be quite special. It looks like no one's milking it exactly.
No one's milking it. No, I mean, apart from Disney.
The other 3 were cynical, I thought, whereas this doesn't seem cynical. This just seems like they actually want to build something out of it. The other 3 seemed like they were just doing it for the money.
How long until we get the Avengers versus Star Wars movie?
That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
No, it wouldn't. It would be rubbish. It'd be absolutely terrible.
It'd be funny. They need to, I don't know, they need to build on that universe somehow, I suppose.
Right, let's stop talking about movies. We've got TV shows as well.
We have.
Now, I've got a list here. Which one of these lists are you most excited about? Pick one from my list that I'm pointing at that no one else can see.
Oh, do you know what? Because I knew about the others already. I'm looking at, and I knew about this a little bit. Heroes Reborn is very intriguing.
See, I didn't care until I saw the trailer, because the last 2 seasons at least of Heroes were utter crap.
I don't know. This last season was decent.
No, it wasn't. The last season was horrific.
I do remember my mate reminding me, when we were talking about it coming back, my mate reminded me that we used to only watch Heroes so that we could wind each other up over WhatsApp and Facebook and just slate how bad it was. And I'd forgotten that. So no, you're probably right. We literally watched it 20 episodes just to get angry.
I've been because Anna had never seen it, so I've been rewatching Heroes recently, and we're up to, I think we're coming to the end of season 3. And she's kind of lost interest because it just is already starting to go all over the place. And I just keep saying, you ain't seen nothing yet. You wait until you see the magical carnival and the deaf woman who can see sound. That's when it gets brilliant.
Don't you feel like, I mean, the biggest problem with that was they made all these people with cool powers that worked around that one story. And then they were like, we don't know how to write more, which is absurd in itself because...
The problem was they made Peter and Siler too powerful.
No, but
and then they spent the next 3 seasons thinking, right, we've got to keep taking their powers off them because otherwise they're too powerful. They would just keep winning. You've got to keep taking their powers off of them.
Even in what they should have done, in my opinion, is kept them how they were, but just done their job and written them properly, like after that, continued them. But they should have let Siler die. And then I think it would have been quite good if you'd let Siler die and then maybe turn Peter into a baddie over the next sort of season or so.
Well, they kept teasing it, didn't they? They teased Peter becoming a baddie, they teased Siler becoming a goodie, and then they
that was just
again.
Horse manure. That was just terrible.
And then they had the episode where they were both just hitting a wall for an hour.
I would have had season 1 how it was, season 2 taking out Siler. Season 3...
Well, Siler wasn't in the first half of season 2 at all, was he?
season 3, I'd have been dealing with the fact that, Peter had it under control. Everyone else's stories are going, but Peter's getting bored. He's fighting crime, but he's trying to be good. I don't know. And then I've had him turn bad. Then I'd have had season 4 about them all trying to take him down. And I wouldn't have had the carnival at all. I would have... Claire was a terrible character.
I don't think she's back, though.
No.
She's too busy pretending to be a country singer in Nashville. So, Heroes Reborn. Who have we got coming back? We've got the horn rim glasses guy, who wasn't wearing his glasses for part of the trailer.
Because his memory had gone. And they handed him the glasses and he remembered it all. That was hilarious.
Yeah, my memory's gone. I've forgotten I can't see properly without spectacles.
The Haitians there, obviously. Micah's there, which I was quite impressed with.
That one, actually, me and Anna both went, ooh!
Yeah, because
he appeared.
That was one of those things, again, where he had one of the best powers and lots of mileage, and they got rid of him.
It's because he was aging too quickly.
Yeah, they kept his really boring mum in it, who...
Well, she had about 19 characters, didn't
she just kept playing different people, and that
she annoys me. She can't shut her mouth.
No, she's the worst character in that.
She's the worst actress ever. She just walks around with her teeth on show
Botox,
constantly. It's so annoying.
Matt Parkman's back. Hero's back.
I think Parkman's back as a proper recurring character. I think Hero's only back as a guest star for 1 or 2 episodes.
That's not good enough.
Disappointing. But then, even with him, they kind of ran out of ideas with him.
But that was very frustrating.
Sent him to Japan for 8 episodes.
I liked that story, but what I thought was they should have had him doing more like that. They should have had him travelling through time more or affecting things more. Like, they had all this kind of him in a room connecting all the dots together and stuff like that, and he never actually got to any of his futures. They should have actually followed through with that and made it weave better, because time travel was great to play around with.
But Heroes Reborn is out soon, I think. That's out.
Is it on Netflix?
It's on in the UK. It's on Netflix, and I think it's September. And it's because it's actually on network TV in America. It's going to be another one of these, like Better Call Saul, where it's an episode a week coming to Netflix.
Too shabby. I'll watch that.
I think that's from September. But before we get to that, we've got Fear the Walking Dead, the new Walking Dead spin-off, set on the other half of the country.
See, I'm not sure what to expect with this. I'm excited that it's more Walking Dead, but what can they do differently in another part of the country?
Well, they just tell a different story, like they did with the Telltale game. You just get a different set of characters in those circumstances and tell a different story. And I think it would be quite refreshing for it not to be the Rick story, because the big frustration with both the TV show and the comics, we're 5 seasons into the TV show, 120 issues into the comic.
140.
Oh, is it? Seriously?
I'm behind.
I'm well behind.
I'm like 20 behind now.
But I'm just fed up of Rick. I've had enough of him.
I don't know. Like, in the comics, they mixed it up quite nicely, and I don't think it's particularly focused on Rick anymore so much. I haven't read it in a while, so for all I know, he could be dead. But I think
spoiler: Rick's dead.
No, I didn't say he was. I'm saying for all I know. In the TV show,
you know he's dead. Rick's dead. Everybody.
In the TV show, it's suddenly become. But look, at the end of last season, he just convinced these pansy people who'd been locked up in a nice haven for all time, the whole apocalypse. That they needed to man up and realise the world had ended. And
well, have you seen the trailer for?
Well, now it looks like he just goes mad. Doesn't it?
It looks like Rick is the baddie, which that's a fantastic thing to do with Rick. Make him a crazy baddie, and Morgan seems like he's assuming the role of leader of the goodies.
I reckon they're overplaying that though, because there's no way they're going to have it end with Rick being the baddie. And
I'd love that.
I think he's just going to be angry at them all. They're going to think he's bad, and then Negan's going to attack and.
It's about time for him to appear, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's going to be superb.
I don't know. I'd like to see Rick go and team up with him.
No, I don't want to see that. I think Rick and Carl need to be.
Carl needs to die, and Rick needs to go bad. Morgan's such a good character, and he's not. When he was just forgotten about in the comics, and he's massively underused in the TV show. I think he's in as a season regular for season 6, so we're actually going to see some proper stuff from that character.
I love that character. Rick back from the edge. I think he'll maybe kick Rick out, but then he'll drag him back slowly. I imagine my expectations for the season are that Rick will be bossing everyone around. They'll stand up to him. Morgan will kick him out, and then Rick will end up saving him from attack, and Morgan will end up sorting Rick out.
And then we get Lucille and a massive tiger.
Yeah. Great.
The tiger holding Lucille with Negan riding on the tiger's back. Let's merge some characters together.
Fear of the Walking Dead. Is there anything more to that?
I haven't seen a trailer. That doesn't necessarily mean there isn't one, but I know it's out August.
August 23rd.
I assume that's going to be on Fox, maybe, like the main show is. So
hope it doesn't take ages to come over here.
With the proper Walking Dead, it comes out the next day, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I imagine it'll be. They're not going to, with a brand like that, they're just going to stick it out the next day.
I hope they learn from the TV show, again, the Walking Dead one, that Andrea was a terrible character in the TV show. Carol was terrible until recently. All the kids were terrible.
Stop casting kids in TV shows
Laurie
that are going to go
terrible.
multiple seasons because they get old and it's stupid. When Bran comes back in Game of Thrones, he's going to be 19 or whatever he is. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, they need to think about it a bit better because they cast some real stinkers in this. And it's like, I don't know if it's just me that I judge really quickly when I see things and people and whatnot in these castings. But I don't know, I feel like I can just tell. I look at them and I think, no, you're not right. And that's it, and that's it, and that's it, that's it. And not liked by the internet at large. So I need someone to do a better job at...
We'll cast it.
Yeah. I always think that we should be given these jobs.
We'll do our version of The Walking Dead. We'll have another spin-off called...
Set in Sapbury.
We'll call it, Aren't The Walking Dead Scary? But then, of course, Game of Thrones, because they... Come on, we're Game of Thrones. We don't need a trailer. We're just going to give you a poster. But it's a poster of a ship. Which I presume means they're going all Assassin's Creed on us, and it's going to be pirates.
Yeah, it could be anything, really. It could be Davos, it could be the Ironborn, it could be Victarion.
It's got to be the Ironborn, hasn't it?
But there's a fella from the Ironborn who sails across the sea. Could be him. He'd be a good character. I can't really remember him. I read through the last book quite quickly, but there are some characters
I'm on the last book now, so I'm almost up to speed, and I imagine, it's going to be the fella who turns up with Daenerys and Tyrion.
Yeah.
Because they're not together anymore, are they? So you're going to have Matey and t'other Matey off looking for Daenerys for most of the season, I imagine, or the first half of the season anyway.
Yeah.
Tyrion and Varys are there running Marine. Is it Marine they're in?
I think so.
And then it's going to be the Ironborn turn up there, I imagine. They're not going to bring in all of the nonsense on the Iron Islands, surely. They've got to have learnt from what happened in Dawn.
Well, I think they probably need to scrap Dawn and do the Iron Islands because they made a bad choice there. I think they thought, we'll get fit, tanned ladies.
But they're filming because the Spanish scenes were.
Oh yeah,
they were filmed in Spain, and they're filming in Spain again. So Dawn's definitely still in it. I imagine they're turning the boat around, and Jamie's going back. I imagine because if Marcella's dead, then they go back, don't they? It's not Jamie's boat.
She's dead.
Well, regardless, you can still see the coastline.
Yeah, you're right.
They're going to turn around and go back to Dawn, whether she's dead or not. So they're still in Dawn, but I imagine, this is the Greyjoys. Because Theon's free now, isn't he? He's jumped off Winterfell with Sansa, so Theon's knocking around.
That's another problem, that his sister, he's like wasn't even in it, hasn't been in it for seasons, but she was in it a lot in your property on now.
Perhaps it's her on the boat. Perhaps they're smushing characters together again, and she's going to turn up and say hello to Tyrion. Did
you see that after saying like Jon Snow's definitely dead and this, that, and the other? Where they're filming in Spain, Jon Snow's filming a film called Brimstone.
Yeah, I saw that.
With the woman who plays Melisandre, and they've asked people not to film on set, and it's all a bit coinkydingle.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. You just think like.
So Marcella's going to be reincarnated as Jon Snow.
Pretty much.
In Dawn.
I don't think Stannis is dead either.
Oh, no, we didn't see... We're really spoiling Game of Thrones here. I mean, you should have watched it by now. If you're interested, you've seen it by now. But yeah, we didn't see the blow, so Stannis isn't dead. Obviously. Or else we'd have watched him die.
They said they didn't do that because it was gratuitous.
Well, I suppose if we've learned anything from 5 seasons of Game of Thrones, it's they don't like to have the gratuitous stuff on screen, do they? So that's a perfectly good explanation.
They did say he was definitely dead, though. But then they definitely said Jon Snow was dead.
Yeah, but again, we know that dead doesn't necessarily mean permanently dead. It just means they're dead for now. Didn't Martin go on Twitter and say something like, "Oh, you think he's dead, do you?" That was his comment the day after the season finale. He just tweeted that and then left it at that and didn't respond to anything afterwards. So,
nice. Well, no, we know how it all works by now. Exactly. It's TV, isn't it?
Right. We're running out of time. I haven't said that for a long time. Firstly, a couple of things we need to address. Patreon, we talked about it briefly at the start of the show. We have got our Patreon subscribers who we appreciate greatly. We've sent a gift out to one of them who's in at the $30 level, so he's going to receive his gift anytime now for being a Patreon subscriber. If you want to get involved in Patreon, you can do that at patreon.com/KevinSteve. But when we were still doing this weekly, we gave an extra weekly show to the Patreon subscribers and an extra weekly show to the people who subscribe to the mailing list. We want you to let us know if you want us to carry on doing that or if you'd like something else instead. We are completely open to ideas. We could do something on video, we could do a dance, we could draw you a picture, or we could carry on doing those weekly episodes where you send in questions for them. Whatever you want, we're open to it. Agreed?
Agreed.
We're also going to be taking it in turns, selecting topics for the show. Now, this one was kind of a joint topic selection because we threw it together at the last minute, true Kevin Steve style. So for next week's show, we need to decide which one of us is going to choose a topic. So we're going to toss a coin to decide that. Now, I went in my house and picked the first coin up off of my desk, which, bizarrely, is a Canadian 25-cent coin. Now, I've never been to Canada. I don't know how I have this coin. It's roughly the size of a 10-pence piece, so I assume I've been swizzled in a shop. But as this is a Canadian coin, we're going to do the traditional heads or moose, because that isn't me doing a hilarious gag. There is a moose on one side of the coin.
Could be a stag.
So are you going heads or moose?
I think I'll be heads, you be moose.
So your heads, I'm moose. So we'll toss that coin, and it is moose. So I'm selecting next week's topic.
Cracking. I don't have to do anything then.
Well, you need to turn up.
Well, yeah, but I'm here anyway.
We've got a question to answer.
Hi guys, it's Christian West. Just wondering, when you were at school, there's always some bizarre story or thing that somebody come up with. What's the most bizarre thing you was ever told?
Well,
Did you just make a farmer's noise, or was that a farmer or pirate?
Bit of both. I remember being told that there was this young fit teacher that worked there, and
there's a lot of stories like that going around my school. I suspect they're talking about me.
Somebody told me her blouse burst open one day in the middle of a lesson, and she had no bra on underneath. And I, at the time, was convinced that was true. But looking back, I kind of think, why on earth would she have been wearing a burstable blouse with no bra on?
Because she was a young, fit teacher.
But she was quite slim and had no reason to be doing that. She didn't
if you're quite slim,
anyway.
If you're quite slim with small boobs, you don't necessarily need a bra.
Yeah, but you also don't necessarily need to wear a skin-tight top that's going to burst at any moment. But
depends if you're looking to pick up a schoolboy or not.
Maybe. There was all sorts of crazy rumours that we started about people. We had a long-going joke that this teacher had his kids tied up in his basement. Which just, my friend started a rumour that the technology teacher disappeared all of a sudden. And then a few days later, the pipes under the sports hall burst and the school was shut for a week because we didn't have a sports hall. I don't really get why it closed for a week, but it did. And my mate tried to start the rumour that he had wedged the body of this technology teacher in the pipes and that they were excavating him. And he tried to get that off the ground so many times, but it just didn't happen. Hopefully it picks up now and then they find something down there. Actually, I don't really want the teacher to be dead, but if they found something down there that was completely unrelated.
What, the teacher's still not turned up now?
I don't know. I've never heard where he ended up, but...
See, I think my school was just really boring because I don't remember anything. I think I was just above it all, just cruising along in my own little bubble of not being aware of what's going on. But I like my own rumours now. I make my own rumours up. So some of mine that I currently have running, and there's a lake underneath my school, which is guarded by a dragon.
Nice.
And it gets different levels of ridiculous depending on which age group I'm dealing with. So we get the stories of the dragon for the younger kids. But for the older kids, there's just a lake there. The school was built on a lake. That's why if you jump up and down, it sounds hollow. And some of them
they always jump, yeah.
We've got, I co-teach my A-level group, and the other teacher went off on maternity leave. And at around about the same time she went on maternity leave, I got a new printer in my room that has padlocks on it. So I
sell paper.
No, I stole her baby and locked it in my printer.
Fair enough.
Which, again, one of them tried to pry it open and have a look to see if there was a baby corpse in there.
Oh, God.
Which there wasn't. Feel free to come and check.
It escaped.
I don't even have the key to that. I don't know. It's the only printer in the school that has locks on.
That's bizarre.
I think they're afraid that I am going to store stuff in my printer if they don't lock it and prevent me from being able to get into it. what else? I think that they're my two that are running at the moment. But yeah, kids don't have the imagination these days to make up their own ridiculous stories. I feel a social responsibility to make up my own versions.
We started The Legend of the Dog-Faced Woman, and I can't even remember what that was. I think we just
was it a woman with a dog face? Was it a person who existed? Or
we just made up loads of like local myths and legends that we should just tell people about all the time. I'm trying to think of anything more bizarre that we were just told about the school, but I don't think anyone said anything about lakes or dragons.
Well, they're mine. They're Chapman originals, and I'm very proud of them. Right, what have I got here? I had something else I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember what it was.
We need people to suggest segments, because I wanted to host something, and you wouldn't let me, and you said
you introduce the topic.
You said if someone suggests a segment, you'll let me host it on my own.
Yeah, we want topic suggestions, because sometimes we're not doing it Best Thing From style, where we're going to randomly select a topic every week, because that's why that got a bit ropey towards the end, because we were doing topics we didn't like the look of.
We're just going to pick something topical, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to pick stuff that we want to talk about, but if you've got a suggestion, it might be something we haven't thought of yet, and we might just go with it. So by all means, get topic suggestions coming in. If you've got any suggestions for segments for the end of the show or the start of the show or whatever you want, throw them at us. We're quite happy to carry on answering questions towards the end of the show.
I think that needs to carry on. That needs to be the listener input.
We're going to keep the voicemail account open. It costs us £6 a month, to have that. So if you want to leave us a voicemail message, it's we'refromtheinternet.com/KevinSteve. No, we'refromtheinternet.com/question. So you can leave us questions that we'll answer at the end of the show. And just keep all that stuff coming in. It's awesome. We want to keep... We love... The thing we've loved most about the first 100 episodes of this podcast is all the listener interaction. We want to keep that in there because it's fantastic. I like weird questions coming in and us having to think on the spot, and it's all good stuff. So keep all that coming. But that is pretty much the end of our first hour-long We're From the Internet show. Have you enjoyed the experience?
Yeah, I feel like it was refreshing doing a topic that we had lots to say about for an hour, and we were interested in it.
Well, about 20 minutes.
So I hope they're as interested in it as we were, because we talked about that quite in depth.
Did you know you can follow us on Twitter at KevinSteve, and you can follow me at The Lujo.
And I'm at RB6K.
And you can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/KevinSteve, I think.
Something like that. You'll find us.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can look at our website, we'refromtheinternet.com. And it would be remiss at this stage for me not to point out that this weekend is MGPX.
It is. So if you'd like to come and meet us in the flesh...
And hear us do a live show, which is going to be the best franchise in entertainment. So if you've enjoyed hearing us talk about stuff like Walking Dead, Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Batman... Hint, hint, there might be some of that coming up at the weekend, because let's face it, they're going to be on anyone's shortlist for the best franchise in entertainment. So if you want to come along, see us do a live show, have the chance to win a PlayStation 4 and loads of other goodies, meet loads of awesome people who are part of the community. There's going to be a pub quiz, there's going to be board games, there's going to be retro games to play, there's going to be high score competitions, there's going to be the best Thai food in the greater Peterborough area, and some fantastically locally produced ale. It's just going to be an awesome day. That's Saturday the 18th. This very Saturday, the 18th of July, starts at 1 p.m. at the Brewery Tap in Peterborough. You can just turn up on the day. Don't have to pay anything. Just turn up, get involved. If you do want to buy tickets, they're going to get you entries into the raffle for your chance to win over £1,000 worth of prizes. It's going to be awesome. You can find out more at maturegamerpodcast.com/MGPX.
That's everything, I think.
Yeah.
See you Saturday.
Do you reckon we could replace you with Ben Affleck and make this the Kev and Ben Affleck? Kev versus Ben Affleck.
I'm pretty sure if you wait long enough, I'll turn into him. That's what happened to Christian Bale.
Yeah, I don't know how to break this to you. There are a few differences between you and Christian Bale already. I don't think Christian Bale at your age looked as similar to you as you think he does.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm in transition. That's the
so
issue.
You're halfway between Bale and Affleck?
Yeah, I'm Baffleck at the moment. Or Balefleck. They call me Balefleck.
I reckon if Ben Affleck is listening, which I assume he still does, he wouldn't be comfortable with you using the whole of Christian Bale's name and only part of his. You'll have to be Bale Affleck.
Balefleck.
Or Affleck Ale. Or Baffleck. No, see, Baffleck, he'll say, yeah, because that's me, Ben Affleck. Get Bale out of this, idiot. See you next week, boys and girls.
Have a good week.